Hey, welcome to the Chuck and Al Show, the space where real life meets real conversation. I'm here with my friend and pastor, and together we're exploring the questions that don't always fit neatly in a Sunday sermon or in a soundbite. Every week, we dig into the stuff that we're all wrestling with: purpose, doubt, hope, relationships, and the chaos in a modern world, and what it actually looks like to live with meaning in a world that never slows down. No perfect answers, no pressure to pretend, just two friends thinking out loud and inviting you into the conversation. This is the Chuck and Al Show. Let's get into it. What do you think about golf on Friday?
Golf on Friday? I've been sending you memes.
Well, you haven't responded to the group text yet. Have you seen it?
I really feel like
I haven't responded to it either.
I know. Are we both waiting on each other?
I'm waiting on you to
You're
see
waiting
what
to see
you
if
say.
I respond. Okay. Before I respond, real quickly, do you read the memes I send you?
I do.
Or do I bother you? I send
No.
you like 15 a day.
No, but does it bother you that sometimes I don't read them for 3 or 4 days?
No, that's between you and God.
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't care. He's probably angry, but I'm not. So should we?
So I have 2 Instagram accounts.
Oh.
So
I didn't know that.
yeah, so I have a woodworking Instagram account,
Okay,
and then I
cool.
have my
Yeah.
personal one. And so what'll happen is I'll get trapped on my woodworking one, and I'll go back to this one every couple of days because I don't even think about it. And I've got like 15 messages.
Okay. I would like to go ahead and promo your woodworking. You did my entire closet. It was incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
You want to do that for a living? Have your own
In
woodworking?
some ways, I kind of do.
Okay.
Right?
What's the name of the woodworking?
No,
Van
hey,
Woodworking?
Man, we've thrown so many names out there.
Like you're legit. We're not just talking. I was at your house.
Yeah.
You're in both garages are nothing but woodworking. So
Correct.
you're ready to roll.
2-car garages.
I like it.
I have a good job though,
You do.
which is also revolves around woodworking.
Okay.
My wife likes stability.
Mm-hmm.
And I like my job.
I would like to go ahead and stop that, man, and say that it is your boss that just texted us and asked us if we're golfing. Or you're waiting on me
golf.
and I'm waiting on you. Should we say yes or no?
Well,
Should we call Brian?
I don't think Brian's going to answer it.
Because I feel responsible now.
Well, I was trying to really gauge the weather
Me too.
situation.
I only golf at 60, 65. 60's.
So the high's 58. The low's 28.
Not doing it.
And so I can't imagine by 10:30 we're going to even be at 50.
Can't do it.
I show at 10:30. This is on Apple, for the record, Apple weather. 43 degrees.
That's cold.
I
That's cold.
think I'm good. I'm not that good of a golfer.
That is true.
So it's just
I'll
like,
agree.
Why?
I will say I've never seen a human hit a golf ball as far as you hit it and still do terrible.
Still score high.
I don't even know how I beat you. Remember that day we played?
Yeah.
And you're killing it. You're crushing it. I'm commenting like, my God, how far do you hit this ball?
Yeah.
Like you're 280, 300. How? And then at the end, when we added score, I beat you.
Yeah.
And I even walked up and said, how did I beat you? And your answer was?
Consistency.
Yeah.
I have no consistency.
Yeah. You're incredible.
Could be good.
You could
if
be
I
real
put the,
good.
If I put the
Yeah,
time in.
Yeah.
It's
you,
just
you
about
could be
time.
really good.
But I kind of like to have a lot of things going. Like this podcast.
So anybody who ever want to have you on their team, you need to be the guy that drives. And after that, just shut up and sit in the cart. You're a decent putter too.
I'm a decent putter if you can keep me focused.
Yeah.
As soon as I lose focus, it's game over.
It is.
But
Bless
yeah,
your heart.
I do have a piece to play on a scramble team.
Okay. So are we talking about, I don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about golf today.
No, we're not talking about golf today.
Okay.
I
could help you. I don't mind.
Well, no, I don't.
What are we talking about?
So I think we kind of had a conversation last week that talked pretty aggressively about, well, people are just going to hate us. So I kind of want to just go right off that and just keep going with people are going to love us or hate us.
Yeah.
So a lot has happened in the world in the last week.
Come on.
Epstein files, more ICE riots and shootings, more information coming out of other parts of the world, such as Iran, and the devastation happening there. It seems to me the world is in a place right now where evil is being exposed daily. Evil darker than I ever imagined existed. And then on the flip side, I can look around and say the light is being exposed as well. I mean, I don't think I can remember a year where post-game sports interviews pointed more towards Jesus than the team. We just had Jelly Roll at the Grammys
Oh, Jelly's lost weight too.
Oh man,
He needs another name than Jelly Rolls.
we're gonna have to update that.
It's like broccoli. Man, he's trimmed it off.
Yeah, he looks good. But like, I watched that video. I get chills watching that video.
Why?
Because of the room he's saying it to.
Uh-huh.
Right? I mean, he is walking into a room of darkness, in my opinion. That's an opinion.
Uh-huh. You're right.
And he's proclaiming the name of Jesus so strongly. But in fact, he's apparently going to come out this week on somebody's podcast and talk about where he stands on this. But like, he did exactly what you talked about in our episode last week. He got in the fight, not the fight of political parties, but the fight of, hey, Jesus is for you.
I will comment on, if any Christian thinks we're losing, you're focused on the wrong thing.
I think media is designed to make you believe that, because just like I said, I can actually point out more good happening than bad.
When Joe Rogan is talking about Jesus in church, when Sean Ryan has a guy on that is Pentecostal and talks about speaking in tongues, when Tucker Carlson has Christians on talking about Jesus, when Russell Brand has people on and they're all talking about Jesus.
And these people themselves who have not been
ever
Jesus followers. I mean, if anything, they're kind of anti.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're anti-Jesus. They're just anti-religion. The Joe Rogan podcast, I'm just listening like, wow.
Yeah.
And he's saying it to the biggest audience in the world.
Yeah.
The biggest podcast in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Which continues to show me that the news media industry is dying, but that's not really a secret to me, because if you go turn on Fox News or CNN, I don't care which one,
it's all propaganda.
Bad.
It's all propaganda.
And so again, it just seems like
one of the greatest things that have happened is Elon Musk bought Twitter, aka X, and gave free speech back, and now everybody. I legit believe that. I say legit a lot. Have you noticed that? I got to quit.
Well, I will now.
I genuinely.
I'm not.
I know. I listened back to the podcast. I'm what? Legit. Okay, I got to quit. I'm not ever.
You really
believe? Again. I really believe that when we're all talking censorship.
Yeah.
In COVID, you couldn't say ivermectin, you're censored. You couldn't talk about the vax, you're censored, right? That whole censor everybody. They cut off Trump. They take his Instagram. They get him off Twitter. Jack Dorsey, everybody's managing free speech, right? Squelching it. And then Elon steps in and buys Twitter, now X, and says, hey, I'm bringing back free speech. Someone commented, big name person commented on their podcast that one of the greatest things that happened to our generation is Elon Musk was willing to get in the fight for $3 billion something to buy Twitter to give free speech.
Way over valuation.
Way over valuation.
It was not a money decision.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It was a free speech. But because of that, I think it created the best thing. I won't say revival in the sense of a Jesus.
Revival in the sense of truth.
Yes, because what happened, it's almost like the Jesus movement of the 60s. In the 70s, if you go back to the Jesus movement, right?
Yep.
I
watched the movie.
Yeah, okay. Well, we would have to. We were young. I was 10 years old, and I can remember some things happening in my church with hippies getting born again, that kind of thing, and spirit-filled and all of that. What we have today is almost a resurgence of a hippie movement, because all of these podcasters now are so influential, but they're not religious. I remember I followed Russell Brand for quite a while, and he started talking Jesus. I'm like, okay, this is weird. This guy's new age.
Right.
I mean, he's way out there. So that even pulled me in more. I kept listening, and all of a sudden I'm like, I think the guy's had a genuine Jesus thing going on, right? Like, who am I to judge? But as I'm following, I'm like, okay, it's legit. Like, the guy loves Jesus. You want to tell you what pissed people off?
I can't follow him around. I can't follow him around. I do want to hear that. I can't follow him around, but to see what they're giving up to say it,
right,
makes me feel like it's real.
It is.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Here's religion. He's out there. He's now all about Jesus.
Yeah.
Even apologizing to all the women he's had sex with in the past and everything.
And getting attacked for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he's out there one day, and I was following him on his account, and I was like, man, this guy's killing it. Makes me kind of jealous. Like, I got to get busy.
Yeah.
Baptizing people in his underwear. Or he needed to baptize, so he just took his clothes off. He's in his skivvies.
Yep.
And just is out there baptizing his friends. And the religious people lost their mind. So I think it's kind of the Jesus movement again, where all these hippies are walking in the 60s and 70s to these suit-wearing, tie-wearing religious people and they're all sitting around with an acoustic guitar barefooted, and Jesus is just flat. I think we're there again. I think you're getting to see it, but it's in a digital world, in a podcast world, but you're seeing the most unlikely candidates, this is an opinion, doing more
for the kingdom.
For the kingdom than
Yeah.
people that have been in it 30 years who are religious.
And I can't help but sit here and think, okay, Jesus is just smiling. And the religious people who are balking at it or getting angry about it, I'm like,
oh, it's Pharisees
you missed
101.
it. I mean, it's right there in the New Testament.
Right,
you missed it.
Yeah.
You missed it.
Yeah. So what it's done for me is it's made me say this is the most evil generation that I've seen.
Which one?
What do you mean?
Which generation?
Oh, yeah. Well, present.
Yeah.
All right. So the present of what I know of 60 years of living is the most wicked, perverted I've ever seen, although I'm sure every generation says that of themselves, right?
And I guess the question is it only the most evil, wicked generation because we're being exposed to the truth about it? I mean, it's really just never gone away since the Old Testament. Right?
Here's what I said to Epstein, right? They released his files. And so I'm having conversations with, I'm having conversations with my 86-year-old mother. Here she is. Are you sure it's real? I'm like, Mother,
pretty sure it's real.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's real.
Yeah.
I went to the website and looked at some things off the government stuff. I said, Mom, I'll just leave it.
I wish it wasn't. I don't want to believe it's
real. I'm like,
real.
look, it's just evil.
Right.
It's just evil. I just have a hard time believing it's that way. I said, okay, Mom, here's the deal. You read the Old Testament.
To clarify, your mom, a Bible believing teacher.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
She might have it memorized.
And sweet as can be.
Yeah.
So true on memorize. She's a chapter verse lady. I'm like, somewhere on the right-hand side of the page. That's me. And so I said to her, Mom, we read the Old Testament about baby sacrifices and multiple sex women, and every woman's just a sex pod for some king that has 500 women, and children and child sacrifice, and we read Baal and Babylon and all of that. I said, but Mom, the New Testament comes along, we read about demons. I said, but here we are in America, and we're a Christian nation. We're different. We're better. No, we're not. It's the same devil,
same evil,
same evil.
Yeah.
It's the same. We hide it better today. We mask it with more acceptance today.
And it seems like it's the same gods that they're worshiping.
It is the same God.
Right?
It's Baal worship. It's Babylon, the mother of harlots, Book of Revelation. It's just called different stuff. It's just different names for acceptability. And so I don't think anything is new. I think we're just waking up to what in God's name has been going on. I'm like, dude, it's been going on since Cain and Abel.
And if anybody wants to refute the statement that Elon Musk buying Twitter may have been the biggest generational move, we wouldn't know.
Right.
Because as soon as you bought Twitter, we got Twitter files. And it just seems like the truth just has unraveled.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
the thing that's hurting people today is everybody's a journalist. Everybody has a phone. Everybody has an
Everyone
opinion.
has a camera and a video.
Everybody's got a camera, video, and everybody's posting a story.
Right.
That's journalism 101, boot on the ground. So if you just wait around, you'll get the liberal journalism. Then you'll get some conservative journalism. Everybody's posting their stories and opinions. What I said last week, everybody's.
There's enough information.
Remind me to read something before we leave the podcast that a doctor sent me that's mind-blowing.
Okay.
I'll read it to you. I can't read all of it because he hasn't put it out there yet. But he said, hey, would you read this, critique it for me before I put it out? And I said, sure. But I'll read one or two lines of it that'll just go, golly, that's what we need to do. Because it is answering what we talked about last week. What do Christians do to get in the fight?
Yeah.
How do we manage justice and mercy and compassion? And it was a brilliant article. So I'll share it with you when you post it. You know, here we are. It's evil, but I think on the other side of the coin, dude, open your eyes. God is doing something incredible
with young people.
Yes.
And influential people.
Yes.
So it almost seems like, and I don't know, I think Charlie Kirk gets a lot of credit here on this, but it almost seems like it's cool to be into Jesus again, even though the last 10 years have probably been the opposite.
Right.
You know, a lot of people talk about the church hasn't seen a boom since 9/11. Is that fair? And so now the boom looks different. So where do we go from here in this fight with young people? How do we link arms and continue to push good messages? And I guess, do you have a system for avoiding getting trapped in the evil? Because I think it's really easy for people to just I only see the bad.
Mhm.
What's your system?
I don't know if I have a system, a formula, so to speak. I think I try to be wise to look at what the world is doing so I have wisdom.
Mm.
I don't want to bury my head in the sand and go, I refuse to know what's going on. I'm just kingdom. I'm just Jesus. It's just all Jesus. There has to be something in us. I said this last week, I think, that Jesus came and he was both wisdom and power. I know we talked about this Monday night when
Yeah.
our gathering with some fellas, that Jesus he's both wisdom and power. He's both. And you cannot separate them. If you do, you end up on one end of the coin of being very off base. And so I think Christians that just want to avoid it all and go, I'm just waiting on Jesus to come back, the rapture. It's just too big of a fight for me. I don't even go there. I don't even look at it. I don't even want to know. I'm like, okay, I get that. You want to stay pure, but if you're not careful, you will have no wisdom to offer people.
Mm.
You won't even be able to speak to the problem. My mother now, 86, we're talking about, she has a conference coming up next week. Been doing it for 30 years. She said to me, I just don't know if I have anything to offer this generation.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom, what are you talking about?
Look at what you lived through.
Yeah. I literally said that. I said, Mom, you were alive in World War II.
Yeah.
They used to cut the lights out in your home and you had to hide because of the threat of bombs. Mom, come on. You've lived through
I can
World War
confirm
II,
I've never slept in bomb shelter.
World War II,
And
Vietnam,
I hope I never have to.
Korea War, Zika flu, bird flu, swine flu, Ebola. Mom, my God, 9/11, you have lived life and you still serve Jesus, right? So, but in her thinking, she's like, I just don't keep up with this generation. I don't know the words they have. I don't understand the lingo. And so that is what I would mean by, if we're not careful, we kind of lose sight of what this world is doing because we've either shut ourselves off and said, I have nothing to offer, or it's so ungodly, I don't even want to look at it. And then I think the other side of the coin is no matter how much knowledge I have to realize that I cannot just meet the world at a level of knowledge. Paul, I came to you not with wise and persuasive words, but I came to you in demonstration of the Spirit's power. He also says in when he's at Mars Hill in the book of Acts 17, I believe it is, he comes in and he goes, look, I see you're all very religious here. And he's looking at all the gods, right? And,
Yeah.
And then he even says on in some of his letters, he says things, even your own poets have said, even your own Stoics have said this about you, that y'all are slow bellies and you're gluttons and so even Paul had an understanding of the lingo and the religion and the philosophies he understood it to a sense that he could have a conversation, but he also realized there's a point where the mind of the conversation has to cease and I have to lean into God. I think it's both and. Play stupid if you want and go, it's just God, Jesus. I'm like, yeah, but come on, it's no different than going to the hospital and going, look, I need heart surgery. And some guy goes, look, I've never been to school, but God's put a call on my life. And, no.
Put me in.
Yeah. It's like, no, you're not going to touch me. So
Yeah.
I think Christians have to understand we have to be wise. We have to be shrewd. We have to understand what's happening around us. We have to have eyes to see. What does it even say? That we must expose the works of darkness? Well, I don't even know what's going on. How do I expose it?
Yeah.
So that is the first thing. It takes some wisdom and a willingness to go. And I think I say this to my close friends. I don't want to be stupid. I don't want to just sit around and go, I know the Bible and nothing else. I want to be able to have conversations with people that disagree with me and be able to give some type of at least a common sense opinion.
So you can't stick your head in the sand?
That's what you asked me. What is my formula? Number one, I don't stick my head in the sand, and I don't pretend like that everything going on is, a conspiracy or I'm just not going to talk about that. I'm at the point now where I believe anything.
Yeah.
Anything you tell me is probably possible because it's such a driven, technological, artificial intelligence world. Great. But I love to do that because what I do with hard conversations with somebody that disagrees with me, I love that because number two, it forces me to go back and go, what do I really believe?
We talked about that in the first episode.
Yeah, I don't really care if you believe differently than me, because it's going to force me to go back and go, well, what do I really believe? So I'm trying to work this out in my head because I don't have a formula. I'm just thinking of how do I live my life in this generation? I try to stay up with what the world is doing so I can give some type of wisdom. I try to be mature enough in the Lord so when I'm called into the King that says he's had a dream, can anybody interpret it? I'm like, well, God can. So I try to bring that into the equation of I want to be both wise as a serpent, and I want to be understanding that there is a wisdom of God as well. And I think so many times we lose the right to speak to people because Christians come into the game speaking Christianese.
Yeah.
And so people just shut you off.
Right off
or I don't even want to hear that you believe different than me, or that I said that to you when we were talking about, having a good debate. I said, come on, it's not a real debate. Nobody in the room believes differently really than me and you. It's when you bring people into the equation. So I try to do that. I try to have conversations around topics that I disagree with that makes me fight what I really do agree with. I mean, I have my opinions now of what's going on in the world. I don't think it's by chance. I think I think God is working. This is going to sound.
Well, that's where I want to head.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right, here. This is what I've been working out the last 3 weeks of my own personal life. I've been going, what is going on? Like,
Chaos.
pedophilia is everywhere. Now, I'm smart enough to think pedophilia has been in every culture from the beginning of time. They've abused kids, used kids, sexuality with kids. So to think it's different in our generation, but I told my mom,
we think we've outgrown that.
no, we've not outgrown darkness.
I want to believe that we.
I do, but you haven't. It's there. Otherwise, there's no reason for Jesus. That's what I try to tell people. Why would Jesus come back to give us a new heaven and a new earth? Because this one, dadgummit, is dark and evil and perverted, and the only hope is
getting it back.
There's no getting it back. He's just got to come make a new one.
Yeah.
He's not coming to redeem the earth. He's coming to just destroy it and recreate a new one, a new heaven and a new earth. So it has to get dark enough. This is, again, my opinion, but I'm going to roll it. Here's what I think. Darkness has been dark, always dark. But there's a strange thing that you have to answer. When it gets so dark that God says within himself, I wish I would have never done this. I'm going to have to kill him. Now that tells me that there are levels of darkness that come to a place to where there's no humanity or justice of humanity that can fix it.
There's no prison sentence. There's nothing we can do to repair
that will fix it.
Yeah.
We can try. We can call it social justice. We can do all the programs, but what we find out as we roll through, how shall we say, what God is after, what God is looking for.
Yeah.
There's no way to read Genesis 6 and hear God say, I wish I would have never made them. I'm going to kill them all. It's also very telling when God says in Genesis 11, these people are so smart, there's nothing impossible with them if they work together in unity. I've got to stop it. So there's two instances where God looks at humans and says, I have to intervene in a way that's not normal. I can't just intervene with another rule, another commandment.
And the second being the Tower of Babel.
The second's the Tower of Babel. Working together, nothing will be impossible.
And they're proving it.
And they're proving it. So he shoos them away.
Yep.
And all the languages of the earth come out. A whole nother conversation there. But the languages of the earth go out into all, they scatter. All right. So what we do is we often find in maybe not a casual reading of Scripture, but we find if we really dig it out, we will find that there's instances through the Bible where God, and this may be hard to chew on, where God says enough is enough. Now, when God, who is compassionate, merciful, comes down and says, dude, enough is enough. And the one place we have it, I hope I get the name right, Belteshazzar is in drinking from the cups. He says, bring me the cups of the Lord from the temple that they ransacked.
Yeah.
And he's drinking wine out of it. They're partying. And a finger of God comes and writes on the wall in the book of Daniel, the finger of God.
That's crazy.
Mene, tekel, upharsin. God writes it on it. It freaks him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we got to find. So they bring
What's that mean?
It means I've numbered your kingdom. Your days are numbered. Your kingdom's coming to an end, right? So
A finger of God, you're just hanging out partying, and it just comes and writes it on the wall.
because, in other words, that moment of taking out the temple, which was what the priest used for the sacrifice, right?
It's a holy place.
Holy place.
Yeah.
They took these holy articles and said, let's party with them.
Yeah.
And God's
No
like,
respect.
yeah, oh, and God's like, now the Old Testament's filled with people doing that.
Yeah.
Filled with people doing that. But at this time, God's like, okay, all right.
I've had enough.
Yes, it's almost like you just crossed a line here. So, meeny, tekel, farce, and then Daniel comes in. And that night, accordingly, his whole kingdom's done, right?
Yeah.
Like just bam, it's over. So if you read the Bible that way, yes, he's faithful. Yes, he's compassionate. Yes, he's long-suffering. But it does tend to lend itself that God looks at us humans, and there are times where he just goes, all right, I'm moving on to something else. Enough's enough. I'm putting a period and we're ending this segment. So come to the New Testament. In the New Testament, Jesus comes, he loves everybody, he forgives sins, he, all the stuff that he's doing. And you even see a little bit of it in Jesus, right? Like Jesus is like, hey, here's the deal. Eat my flesh and drink my blood.
And they're like, what?
My thinking to that is we go, man, that's a hard statement. But for Jesus, he's tired of people following him for lustful, selfish reasons.
This isn't about you and your kingdom you're going to get out of this.
Thank
right?
you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he has a moment where in theory.
Which I think is a problem. I'll admit it's something I struggle with. Am I doing this so I can get to heaven?
Mhm.
Or am I doing this because I believe?
Okay, so take Jesus, who's the Hebrews 1. He is the exact representation of the Father. He's sitting there, and he's got all these followers. You can imagine the money that's going to come in. You know that the disciples are saying, this is it.
Yeah.
We're going to set up a kingdom. I'm going to sit at your right hand. You're going to rule. We're going to get rid of Caesar. Man, we're taking over Rome.
Can't wait.
And Jesus is like, okay. I know he's thinking, you stubborn and rebellious people. We know he's thinking something because he's crying over Jerusalem like a mother hen would. Like, I hurt so bad for you that he says,
Because you can't see it.
right. He says, eat my flesh and drink my blood. Now, that doesn't feel nearly as bad as Genesis 6. I'm going to kill them all. But think this through. If you are the God of life,
Okay.
John 1, in
Yep.
him is life, and that life is the light of men, and that light has come into darkness, right? And the darkness cannot overcome it. So in Genesis, we hear, I'm going to kill them all. Well, what does killing them all mean? I'm going to separate them from my life, right? I'm going to draw those that are mine. That's you, Noah.
Yeah.
I'm going to protect you, and I'm going to separate myself from this. They'll be dead.
They're
Okay?
gone.
John 8, we see the same thing of God, except through Jesus. He's like, everybody's here, man. And he's like, okay, I'm about to do something. I'm going to separate life from these dead people. And here's how I'm going to do it. You must eat my flesh and drink my blood.
Because I am life.
Yes. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, this time God doesn't bring a flood. This time God the flood was his wisdom. This time it's just his wisdom. And it does the same thing in the book of Noah. It's just not quite as bad because we think it's not the whole world. But over 5,000+, however many, just can't do it, sorry. Then to show you this line in the sand, fellas, I'm done with this. He looks at it, he said, y'all want to go too? This is my translation. There's the door.
Yeah. You can leave.
You leave. And Peter's like, dude, you got the words of life. So here's what I think. I think we get so accustomed to sinful behavior, lustful behavior, perverted behavior. Christians get
numb to
drunk,
it.
numb, fornicate, sleep around with your girlfriend, live any way you want.
Jesus loves me just
And
the
he-
way I am.
And he does.
And he does.
He doesn't love you the way you are. Otherwise, he wouldn't say you had to be born again. But he loves you. Not the way you are, or otherwise you wouldn't have to be born again.
But we've extrapolated that to
He loves me like I am. No.
well, and he approves of how I want to live, what I want to do, because
That is true, but
Yeah.
it's no.
I agree. Yeah, I'm not saying that's
Yeah, I
real.
know.
I'm saying that's the worldview. I'm
If
generalizing.
any way around that is
Yeah.
if that's true, then why do you have to be born again? Because otherwise, just keep living you and be a better you, and that's impossible. So if I take that thought that where we are now, you're asking that original question, how do I navigate this? I believe where we are now, oh God, this is a thought. I think three things have happened. Number one, the devil has always been against wisdom, God's wisdom. Period.
So dilute it.
All right. So I go back. These are some things I think are happening, and I would fight them if we had debated. I would take my side and go, I'd rather debate my side. And I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm going to roll it. In Genesis chapter 2 and 3, we're introduced to some trees. Life is one in the center, and another tree in the center is the knowledge of good and evil. And God tells these people, here's what I often say. How does a holy God who created a holy planet, everything is holy. When you and I read it, we don't read it holy. We see the little serpent in the tree and go, oh, that's a devil. No.
Can't be holy, right?
It was holy.
Bad.
The serpent is holy. The trees are holy. Everything is holy.
Because there was no evil.
There was nothing. There was nothing unholy God created.
So even the tree of knowledge of good and evil is holy.
Because God said everything is good.
Okay.
So even, although we have these beings out here called fallen angels, that we're not talking about them. They're in another created. They're not part of the creative story of the 7 days.
Okay.
So in that, God says, look, here's how we're going to define good and evil. You stay away from it and leave it to me. The moment you think you can handle good and evil, you'll die. Don't eat it. Don't eat the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Knowledge of good and evil needs to be left to me, God, not up to you humans, because the moment you humans get in charge of good and evil, you'll call that which is good bad and that which is bad good. Stay away from it. Let me be God.
Which is where we're at today.
Okay? True. Right. Here's what I think. That tree that was the temptation of Adam and Eve, for Eve specifically, was a temptation to knowledge. If you know, that makes you God. If you eat this, he says, you'll be like God, meaning what he's saying to her is God is withholding knowledge from you. And if I can give you the knowledge, you will be just like God. Just like God.
Yeah.
So I believe today, this is a strange belief, but I do think I believe it. I think today artificial intelligence is a replanting of the tree of knowledge of good and evil to this generation.
Because I can give you the information.
And once you get information, and they even said last week,
it's addictive.
Yeah. Last week, some guy said he wasn't a Christian, but he was talking about artificial intelligence. I've been following a lot of folks in that world, listening to them. This is what he said. He said, artificial intelligence is already past human ability. It will be a level above and beyond humans. And also, I mean, it's so far over my head, but his intimation was that artificial intelligence is already surpassed humanity.
And currently, Elon Musk is building the infrastructure for humanoid robots.
Yes,
that will be run off.
And he's going to put AI up in Starlink. So that's pretty cool. But I think that artificial intelligence is the new knowledge of good and evil, because it's out there, and every human now can determine what's good and evil. You have your good, I have mine. That was last week. We chatted about that. Number 2, Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man, right? And so we try to go, days of Noah, all right. Nephilim, giants, the apocalypse. The Nephilim were, the angels were having sex with women, and that produced Nephilim and these giants, and God had to come down and go, arr.
That's an episode, by the way.
I'll talk about that all day long.
Man.
So, but what we rarely hear people talk about, or I say rare, at least the people I've listened to, I don't hear much, is that we talk about what the devil and the angels were doing with women to produce this offspring.
Yeah.
But rarely have I heard someone say, now Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be when I come. Well, in the days of Noah, God made an opinion that said, I'm done with y'all.
You've lost me.
You've lost me.
Yeah.
All right. I think the days of Noah is not, are Nephilim still here, and is there still perverted things going on with beings, and it's been every generation. But what has not been every generation is the one thing in Noah that God responded, I'm done, and I'm putting a period. I believe what we see happening right now is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I think we see everything that is antichrist, which is God in the flesh. We now have God in digital form. And they've said that, not Christians, they've said that over and over, that
creators of
it have said this will be like God in
a digital version.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's antichrist to me. It's God with flesh is Jesus. God without flesh is artificial intelligence. So fast forward to the book of Revelation, and it makes sense. There's coming a time where God just looks at the perversion of humanity and says, all right, I'm done, and I'm going to pour out my wrath now. And that's the entire book of Revelation, is God going, I've finished. I'm done with it. I think that's why when we read Revelation, it says God's dumping his wrath, and people are like, I'm still not repenting. I'm still not.
Well, yeah, that was I was just reading that this week. I texted you about that because I was like, man, after all this, a third of the people still went about doing exactly what they had been doing. No remorse.
And here's what's even worse: 1,000-year reign with Jesus, with no sickness, no disease, perfect unity and harmony among all people, which is what everybody's social justice is, and that'll fix it. Unity. No, we have that in the 1,000-year reign. And at the end of the 1,000-year reign, Jesus steps back and goes, all right, here's all the unity. Everybody's been getting along. I'm going to let the devil out a little bit to show you that what y'all thought unity and social justice was is nothing close to what I think, because the devil's going to lead most of you away in one final rebellion. After 1,000 years with Jesus, we still choose ourselves, because social justice is not the answer. All of this stuff we think we're doing for the better of humanity, that is, God is going to give us 1,000 years, according to Scripture, to live in this thing called the kingdom, where the lion and the lamb lay down together, where everybody gets along. There's no death. The devil's been locked away in an abyss.
Is that prior or after the tribulation?
It's after. And then 1,000, can you imagine living with Jesus 1,000 years and the devil's let go, and we're like, I think I'm going to choose the devil. And they do.
That's wild.
You know why? Because the whole time, what Jesus is going after is typically not what we go after. He came in and said, repent. That means turn, change your thinking, change your mind. The kingdom is here. He's always about kingdom. What is kingdom? It's wisdom and power. My wisdom, my power, turn to me. Seek my kingdom, I'll bless you. Serve my kingdom, I'll bless you. When you pray, Father, bring your kingdom. That's all he's doing over and over. What we do is pervert that and think that Jesus exists for me. Come get saved. Okay, Jesus, my kingdom, fix my marriage, give me a house, bless me, help me retire, fix my health, fix my knee. How about my back? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I come into it very introverted, that Jesus is doing all this for me, rather than me going, wait a minute. Yes, he saved me, but now I work for him.
This may be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Nothing's dumb.
No, it's going to be dumb. It's uneducated. So it's an uneducated question. Is there a possibility that we're coming out of that 1,000-year period? No chance.
No. God, no chance. Like, I know no. No. Because if so, my granddad would have been raised from the dead. Because the 1,000 years, the dead in Christ
the dead come back to life.
Come back to life.
Yeah, okay. Where are they all going to go?
Do you not? If you do the math, I saw this the other day. I thought, that makes my head hurt. I'm not a mathematician, but I love math.
Where do they all go?
Do you know that right now there's 8 billion people on planet Earth, and if we gave them all a little, like 3-foot space to live in, or 12-foot, something livable, I can't remember what the guy said.
Yeah.
Do you know we would all fit like in the state of Nevada?
No. Whoa, hold on.
We've been lied to.
I like a little more than 3 by 3 though.
I'm not saying it's 3 by 3.
We can't all have 10 acres.
I'm not saying it's 3 by 3 or shouldered. I can't remember what he said. I was just blown away, because
all the people in the world.
Because we're taught that we're running out of space.
Well, that's 100% a globalist view.
Right.
100%. Yeah.
But the reality is, if you take all these people and you lump us down into the middle of square footage,
it's the state of Nevada.
Yeah, about the state of Nevada.
Whoa. Do we know how many people have died all time?
No.
Is there a stat?
I Googled that the other day.
I can AI that. Maybe AI.
You probably could AI, but no way to know.
So can I use AI?
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you?
Even though it's the tool, or it is potentially the Antichrist? Why? Like, I'm kind of obsessed with it right now. It seems to be a really good tool.
I definitely believe, I think everything is a tool. I think to say, can I use my car? Your car can be a tool for good or evil, right?
Sure.
Like, again, good and evil, there's going to be plenty of people that use AI for good and plenty of people that use it for evil, because we're living the tree of knowledge of good and evil right now.
Okay, so my next question would be, we're talking about all these times in history where God kind of says, hey, I'm fed up. I've had enough. is that the moment we're living in now?
I think
Or
so.
are we just exposed to it's actually what it's been forever and it's actually not any worse than it's ever been? Or is that where we're living? You see what I'm my question makes
It's what I
sense?
say. Every generation thinks Jesus is coming. That's the whole point.
Of course. Yeah.
Every generation thinks we're
The
it.
people
Right.
the people on earth right after Jesus
Yeah,
died
this
thought,
is it.
all right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Well,
So I don't know. I mean, I can just say there's a lot happening that seems
because on one hand we've said there's nothing new under the sun. It's the same evil that existed in the days of Noah.
right.
But like it was also the same evil that existed 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago. The only thing that seems to have changed is that we're now aware of it.
Okay, I will. Okay, yeah.
Read it to
Keep
me.
talking. No, keep talking. I'm
So-
going to look it up.
So the question I have is, or the thing that I'm struggling with is answering the question of is this the end or is this just exposure of what's never changed?
Mhm.
So how do I battle through that? Because to your point, every generation said, "Oh, Jesus is coming back. Oh, Jesus is coming back." This
Mhm.
every world. I can't imagine in World War II when a nuclear bomb's dropped, people aren't thinking, "Okay, Lord, now would be the time to come on back." And yet, here we are, 75 years later,
Mhm.
and nothing's happened.
I'm looking up a scripture, so keep rolling. I need my mom on these kind of things. So,
Man, do we need to call her?
No, listen to this here. I'm going to see if I can find it. I know where it's at. I'm just trying to grab it where I don't have to read the whole scripture. All right. You ready? Here we go. I got it. Daniel chapter 12. Here's what it says, the time of the end. So here's what we would have to assume. We could say that true, every generation thinks Jesus is coming, right?
There's bad things all the time.
All the time.
And we live in the America bubble,
Okay.
which is very obvious to me.
But if we're not careful, we get sucked into thinking it's just history repeats itself. No,
Okay.
because we are on a timeline. Otherwise, there wouldn't be Jesus saying endure to the end. So there is an end coming.
Has to.
So if there's an end coming, then we're not just repeating history in a cyclical, we're on a linear moving toward a destination, right? We're not just hopefully learn something and keep repeating behavior, even though some of that's true. Daniel 12:1. At that time, Michael, the archangel who stands guard over your nation, will arise, and there will be a time of anguish greater than any since the nations all first came into existence. So even though you and I can say evil's always been here, right?
Yeah.
And go back and say, look, God, but what Daniel is saying prophetically is true, but there's coming a time where it's going to be worse than ever. So we would have to agree biblically that though every generation has evil in it and bad things happen, that evil is escalating.
It's
getting darker.
It's not getting lighter.
Okay.
That's truth.
Now, whether we say it's worse today
not
because
receding.
there's social media, I don't know if I go there. I say it's worse today because evil increases. Listen to what it says. It goes on to say there's going to be a time of anguish greater than any since nations first came into existence. But at that time, every one of your people whose name is written in the book of life will be rescued, meaning that it'll be so bad your only hope will be God.
Mhm.
There won't be social justice, there won't be laws, there won't be politics and governments. The only thing that's going to get you through it will be God. Verse 2, many of those whose bodies lie dead and buried will rise up, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting disgrace. Verse 3, those who are wise will shine as bright as the sky, and those who lead many to righteousness will shine like stars forever, which is, I think, the mission of what we should do. Verse 4, here it comes. But you, Daniel, should keep this prophecy a secret. Seal up the book until the time of the end. So that means that there are things that God knows that are out there spiritually that he says, we're going
to keep that under
We're going to keep that under wraps.
Yeah.
So
the exposure actually is a signal of
something's happening.
we're getting to the end.
All of this
Wow.
perversion getting exposed all of a sudden.
Because it's exposed.
Pastors, youth pastors, leaders, apostles, prophets, politicians, governors, doctors, lawyers, teachers. It's mind-blowing. I told my mom that the other day.
Just since COVID.
Yeah, I told my mom and dad, I said, I want to tell you what's different about this generation. We always knew there were weird, evil people. I said, it's every day.
Yeah.
And it's in the house of God.
Yeah.
It's pastors getting arrested for pedophilia and sex stuff with children. Mind blowing. Listen to what, I'll read it again. But you, Daniel, keep this prophecy a secret, seal up the book until the time of the end, when many will rush here and there and knowledge will increase. Do you believe we're at a place where knowledge is increasing?
Yes.
Now, if that be true, we're at the end. If knowledge is increasing, exponentially increasing,
Faster than it's ever increased.
we can't even keep up with
No.
it.
It's smarter than us.
I read an article the other day that AI is replicating so fast in knowledge that we cannot keep up with it.
Wow.
So my belief is, as you can go on and read it later, the rest of the chapter is mind-blowing because it's about the end. So
Yeah.
here's what we can deduce. There is an end, so it's not cyclical, it's linear.
Yep.
We're going toward it. If there is an end, that means we're closer today than we've ever been, no matter how dark others have been.
Sure.
Number two, no matter how dark others has been, every generation can be darker because darkness can increase.
Yeah.
If darkness can increase and sinful behavior can increase, and we're moving toward an end, that means we will come back to, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be, where God, who is the creator of time, says, I'm done. And so how is a God who is eternal says he's done? He puts a line in the sand and says, grace is over, wrath is coming. Once wrath is finished, I will come down and finish a time called millennial kingdom. And once that's finished, there is no more time. We enter into eternal life. So I think what you and I see now is an increase of knowledge like never before. No generation has seen it.
Is the book open?
I won't say Elon Musk, but I listen to about 6 people and he's in there. So I'm trying to rank who I heard say it. But they were talking about the increase of knowledge and the things that are taking place. And gosh, how I lost my train of thought of what he was saying about
fast AI.
Yes, how fast it's moving.
Yeah.
Like it's his.
I mean, the guy literally just closed a plant on half of his cars
His comment was
to increase
that
production of
there's
robots.
and it's, I can't remember the guy that said it. Wasn't Elon, but this guy said, he said, you can't even explain to people what it's going to be like. He said it would be like going back into the 1800s and trying to explain to someone what a computer was and what a cell phone was.
Wow.
And what he said, AI.
This is just what, 3 years away?
Yes. He said AI is at the point to where it is a global shift in how everything will function and work, that if we even try to tell you, it would be like going back to a 4-year-old to explain quantum physics and how it works. That is the exponential difference between a cell phone with a computer chip versus AI. We won't even recognize the future. We will look back and go, I did not even see the possibilities here. Did I tell you about the girl they hooked up to her head and she could talk through her thoughts?
No.
So they used artificial intelligence. They wired her brain, her thoughts,
Okay.
and they hooked artificial intelligence up because she could not speak. And they brought someone in to talk to her, and just her thoughts, it connected to the computer, and the computer talked for her perfectly just off of reading the signal thoughts that were coming from the electrical impulses in her brain. It digitized it, and she had a full conversation with someone.
Whoa.
Elon Musk said that they're getting to the point with Neuralink that quadriplegics will be able to walk, blind people will be able to see. Like you and I can't even fathom not needing a doctor in the future. They're now saying that in the next 10 years, these fellas that are listening to us here, their generation won't even be talking about money and jobs and health care because it will be so absorbent of what artificial intelligence can do to keep you healthy, to give you a new eye, to give you a new kidney, to do all the things. What did they say? That doctors will be replaced?
Yeah.
And that you literally think a human doctor can do better than a robot? No way.
Yeah. I think I heard somewhere just in the last 2 weeks that in 3 to 5 years, the best surgeons will be robots.
Here's the thing I think. This is an opinion.
Surgeons.
I think most young people think artificial intelligence is just a really fast computer. It's ChatGPT.
It's life.
It's ChatGPT.
It's bigger than that.
I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, for anybody that studies it, you're like, of course. But just for the casual, it's ChatGPT. It's a really cool, fast computer that can talk with me, and I feel like it's real. It's so far beyond what we can even fathom that I don't even think you and I sitting here, and they even said that they were interviewing this guy, I think of the World Economic Forum, and he's like, we're going to look back 10 years from now, and there's no way to even tell you what it's going to look like from this vantage point. We will be shocked at where,
Yeah.
you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I there was a different line of thinking, but the same way it was a business related topic. They're like, you can no longer plan for 5 years out.
No.
If you bring me a business plan that's a 5-year plan, I'm going to say you're stupid.
Right.
You can about plan for the next 10 to 12 months, and
Right.
that's it.
Right.
And
My
that's the
dad's
end.
90. He said yesterday at lunch, we were talking, and I said, go back and run through your life with me. No TV. He was telling me the first time he saw a TV.
Yeah.
He said, my mind was blown. He said, I don't know. How did they get these people in the box? How did they? He said, I couldn't even understand. They didn't even have a telephone when he was a kid. And so here's a man that had no air conditioning, no telephone, no running water. We're just talking 1936 here.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about 100 years
It's not even
ago.
been 100 years.
He said, if you would have told me, because I went to him, I said, Dad, if I would have told you in 1956 when you were in college, I would have come to you and said, one day you're going to be holding something in your hand. You can talk to anyone, anywhere in the world at any given time and almost have perfect reception. You can send pictures. You can virtually send yourself and be on a cruise with your kids through a phone. I said, what would you have thought? He said, I wouldn't have even known how to make my brain think that way. So that's what artificial intelligence is today. It's not even what we think it will be because it's so far developed beyond. That the world we know now with a cell phone in our hand, I have a doctor visit, I need to find a surgeon, to all the stuff that I need, to goods and services in the next 10 years, I would say minimum next 10 years, me and you won't even recognize the world we live in.
Would you caution against Neuralink?
No, because I think there's some beauty in the fact of a quadriplegic or someone that is blind being able to use the technology of the day.
So to me, trying to figure out what was seen in the vision and revelation of marks in your head or on your hand, it seems like a pretty easy link there that you're injecting the Antichrist into your brain if the Antichrist is AI.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
I do, but I don't think the beast is going to be, I did that by mistake, because it's worship. You're demanded to worship. It even says that you will be required to worship. So it's not just AI being oh God, that's the devil. It is that you are required to worship. So it's going to be, you won't be going, I hope this vaccine doesn't kill me. It's not going to be that. It's going to be, this is exactly what you're doing. You either worship me or you die. So it's not going to be like you took it by mistake. And like, I blew it. It's going to be you worship me or you die.
It's taking it worship.
Huh?
It's
No.
taking it worship.
Well,
Are we
No.
messing with God's design by doing that?
Well, I mean, anything we could do would be that. But
But that could go a long way. You go down today.
my belief is that the artificial intelligence is how the enemy will run his children. I believe the robots, and this is so far out there, but I do believe that. Here's why I believe it, in an opinion. Jesus is Christ. He's God in the flesh, and he births a new breed of people. They are a kingdom of priests, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, right? He births a nation of people that are different from Jesus, called born again. You're now his children. You're his family with a father. Jesus says in John 8 that the devil is a father.
Yep.
He has his own children, right? Now, the one thing the devil cannot do is recreate children. So when his die,
They're dead.
They're dead, right?
Yeah.
So he has to every generation. So when the Bible says Antichrist, we think, ooh, a bad dude, right? Like really bad. 666. But Antichrist would be, if Christ is God in the flesh, then Antichrist would be God without the flesh. If Christ is wisdom and power and knowledge, then the Antichrist is wisdom, power, and knowledge used for his own fatherhood. So he will be anti-God's wisdom, provide his own wisdom. And what is Lucifer's own wisdom? The tree of knowledge of good and evil was the thing that I grabbed, and that is my tree now. So Jesus has a kingdom of his kids going, it's the tree of life. I
Right.
am life. Lucifer has a kingdom of his. It says, my tree is knowledge. So we have two trees in the world, a tree of life and a tree of knowledge, right? Both have a father. Both are producing offspring. I believe that when Jesus produces human offspring called Christians that are born again, and we're going to get new bodies one day, I believe Lucifer looks at that and thought, Dad, burn it. I can't create that.
Can't do it.
But what I'm going to do is produce humans smarter than humans. I think he's up there with God going, I'm about to produce my offspring
Yeah.
that are smarter than you. Here's how I'm going to do it to God. I'm going to do it by taking the tree you created. I'm going to produce me an offspring that'll outdo your offspring. My
Feeding off the
offspring,
tree.
my offspring will worship me through knowledge, through good and evil, like they've done from the very first couple you created. And I will produce my own seed.
Mm.
And my seed will take your seed over. My seed is smarter than your seed, faster
Stronger.
than your seed, stronger than your seed. Trump, I got you. God steps in and goes, okay, I'm done. And God comes in and the wrath of God is poured out on Satan's kingdom.
Wow.
Because once artificial intelligence rolls, there's not a human that's going to stop it.
You can't.
This is why the Bible says we tried to make war against the beast, but nobody could come against it.
Mm.
We tried to kill it, it resurrected itself. Shot in the head, it came alive. So my belief, again, opinion, my belief is that the devil is setting up a kingdom through artificial intelligence to raise up an army of good and evil filled with knowledge that are better than humans, faster than humans, greater than humans, to mock God, that you can't even kill my kids because my kids now are eternal because they have no flesh, they can live forever.
They can't die.
Mhm.
Okay.
And he'll use regular humans as well because he's always done that. He's always mingled his spirit world with the human world. I just think the devil is the most brilliant of God's creation, and I think he brilliantly is using artificial intelligence to mock God. Just go listen to what natural people are saying. Artificial intelligence is smarter than
The
humans.
creators of it.
Smarter than humans,
Yeah.
bigger than humans, and once it starts, we won't be able to
Can't
stop
stop
it. It'll
it.
be like God.
Yeah.
I'm
And,
like-
and in fact, there's been stories and articles of humans trying to shut it down and it turning itself back on.
I've seen that. So what can we do? I'll go back to Daniel because I think you posed a really good thought. Well, so do we just sit here and bury our head in the
Yeah,
sand?
do I'll go hide
So listen to what it says.
and wait for Jesus to come take me back.
Verse 3. It's talking about the end.
Yeah.
Those who are wise will shine as bright as the sky, and those who lead many to righteousness will shine like stars forever. I think our job is to shine as bright as the sky.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be canceled, talked about, hated, mocked. That's what you see happening with all the, you said it.
Yeah.
Man, I see all these athletes, like first thing out of their mouth, I'll give glory to Jesus.
Which is, I
Millions are watching
love
them.
it.
Millions are watching
But
it.
if you went back 10 years ago, I think that would have been cut off the air.
Yeah.
Literally.
Millions are watching it happen.
Yeah.
You see all these podcasts that here's me and you having a podcast that maybe have 50 or 100 watch us or listen.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Millions upon millions listen to Joe Rogan.
And he's like, man, the people in church are the nicest
Yes.
people I've ever met.
Yes, I saw that podcast. So my thing is that God's like, okay, you religious people don't want to shine. You just want to sit around and whine and hop from church to church and pamper yourselves with your own fleshly living and get mad when somebody doesn't call you. Here's what I'm about to do. I'm about to go touch all these influential people who are the rogues, the rogue, peripheral, exterior people that never grew up religious or did and defected. I'm going to grab them, and I'm about to have a revolution of people shining as bright as the stars and winning people to righteousness. And that's what we see. And we see it all around us. While churches sit around and talk about, I got so frustrated I had to quit watching it. All the religious people that I was kind of watching comment, he's not really saved. It's a false salvation. If he was really saved, he would. And I'm like, oh my God, like,
We've seen this play out.
yeah.
Okay. So we're coming up on an hour, so we're
Mhm.
going to cut it off here. You
Yep.
said you wanted to read something before we went.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Thank you.
while you're pulling that up, I think the next conversation we have, I want to kind of keep going down this. How does this all play out?
Mhm.
Because I'm confused about how it all plays out.
Yep.
And I've read Revelation probably as much as I've read Genesis. This might be the two books of the Bible I've read a lot. And you always are so good at pulling things. I'm just like, I didn't put that together. So I think the next week when we meet, I want to continue to talk about how this plays out not because I need to know, but I think it has value.
Mm-hmm.
As we're watching it play out, to be aware of
Mm-hmm.
the progression,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm confused on the progression.
Yeah, we'll do it
So,
for sure.
But go ahead
Yeah.
and read what you want
Okay,
to read.
listen to
or-
this. How cool. Somebody just texted me a few seconds ago, said, I just listened to your last podcast, loved it.
Oh man,
Knuckle it up, man.
Love
Thank
it.
you, Keaton.
Well done.
I love it.
Thanks
Al,
for being a
I'm
part of
sorry,
it.
Al. Yeah,
Thanks,
it's
Chuck.
your idea. Thanks for having me on. All right, listen to this. This is sent to me this morning or last night.
Thanks,
And
Brandon.
they said, would you please read this for me? I hit the wrong one. And I said, absolutely, I'll do it. It's a long document, but I'm going to read it. You ready? The title of it is When Christians Disagree. The battle and social tension raging in America that's dividing neighbors, families, and sadly so much of the church is the inability, especially by Christians, to handle the tension of two differing truths. Handling this tension hinges on understanding and implementing the truth of three Hebrew words. I will do my best to pronounce them. Misfat, savlanot, and shalom. I probably butchered those. I'm not a Hebrew scholar. The Hebrew word for justice is misfat. It's uncomfortable when competing worldviews and core values collide, but this word refuses to choose sides. After nearly living 8 decades, I've learned that objectivity in the purest form does not exist. Everyone has a bias filter that they refuse to abandon. He goes on and talks about that. The second Hebrew word, he says, it means enduring, suffering, or bearing a load. It signifies more than just waiting. It is the active capacity to tolerate, endure, and maintain composure without getting angry or upset. Then his last word, he said, the last word that
we
I
do that
bring,
real well.
yeah, is the word shalom, and it's the right to gather together and to find a peaceful way to do it. And that's what I think is the problem today, is that we don't do well talking about justice and picking two truths
Without
that are,
there being a side.
yeah, to
And-
sit down and say, hey, we can talk about this like adults.
Yeah. And part 2, which was my brain just escaped me. What was part 2?
Part 2 is learning to sit down and
Without getting angry.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're a divided world, not just a nation, but a divided world.
So tune in next week. We're going to talk about what? The end?
Yeah. I kind of like where that goes.
I've
got more questions.
Yeah, we'll roll it the best I can.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me hang out with you again.
Thank
I
you.
enjoy it.
I think this is fun. I'm enjoying the conversation and just what I'm learning from it. And if other people get value out of it, great.
Thank you for having me.
If
on.
not, great.
Till next week.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, man. Hey, Brian, call me.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Talk to you tomorrow.